What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for the quarter-final predictions of the Club World Cup. But first of all, I just want to touch on something that transcends football, and that is, of course, the shocking news, if you don't know, announced that Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva were both involved in a car accident that proved to be fatal. So, just 28 years of age, and he is no longer with us. It's truly, truly saddening, and the more you look into it, the worse it gets. Honestly, his most recent tweet, or his last tweet, was of his wedding that happened maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, and it's him, his wife, and his 3 kids, and that really hit home to me, especially. He got married at 28 with a wife and his kids. Next year, I will be getting married at 28 to my wife with my daughter. So that is very, very shocking news, and I think because it feels so close to my reality that this has happened, it hits even more naturally. I think if you can relate to it, it feels awful. So I just, for what it's worth, want to say that my thoughts are with Jota's family and friends, with Liverpool Football Club, anyone that knew him and was close to him. That is truly, truly heartbreaking and tragic, and that really got me this morning, I have to say. Life is precious, so make sure you give those around you that you love a big hug. Tell people you love them, because you really never do know. So rest in peace to Jota and, of course, his brother as well. And let's carry on and talk about the game we all love, why we're here, the Club World Cup, the quarterfinals. Now, last round, there were some upsets, it does have to be said. We saw Al Hilal famously knocking out Manchester City 4-3 in extra time, and we saw Fluminense, the two teams we're talking about first, beating Inter Milan 2-0. Phenomenal stuff from both sides. I actually think that it's going to be difficult to separate these two teams. Similarly, I think Inter Milan, Man City would have been an interesting game. I think Fluminense, Al Hilal is going to be a close game. I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw. And the thing is, on Super Brew, first of all, we are well up there. You know, we are way up there, pretty much top 1% in the world, which is incredible for predictions. Top of our league, 31st in the entirety of the United Kingdom, and 143rd in the world. We're like 1 point away from top 100, top 1%. We're doing really, really well. But with the Super Brew website, if you predict 1-1 and it ends 1-1, but then someone wins in extra time, you don't get the score prediction. For Super Brew, the score prediction and points go to the after extra time result, if applicable. So in order for this to get me points on Super Brew, the game has to go to penalties. And you know what? I could see it. So I'm going to say 1-1. Bono, the keeper for Al Hilal, made some incredible saves in that game against Manchester City, picking up player of the match. And I think that's going to lend itself well to an Al Hilal penalty shootout win. And the tip is going to be both teams to score and under 3.5 goals at 3. And we had both teams scoring under 3.5 goals in the Benfica-Chelsea game. That ended 1-1 in regulation time, of course. The tip does last for the 90 minutes, not like Super Brew's predictions. The tip would be for 90 minutes. So if it ends 1-1 or 2-1 either way, the tip comes in. And I could see it being 2-1 either way. But brilliant result for Fluminense, clean sheet against Inter Milan, and Al Hilal to knock out Manchester City, who some people will claim that they weren't trying to win this thing, or they weren't trying, they didn't care. They wanted to win, absolutely they did, and Al Hilal got the win. So congratulations to both of them, and congratulations if this happens to Al Hilal, who will book their place into the semi-finals. They will of course be facing the winners of this game between Palmeiras and Chelsea, but before we get into that, flashing up on the screen are all of the people that are supporting me over on the Patreon. Remember, if you want exclusive members tips and accumulators, you can join that link using the description bar down below. But also I'll be doing a $100 giveaway to one of the new members at the start of the next season when the first month is done. So if you want to get involved with that, join the Patreon down below. You'll all be randomly entered like we did last year, and one of you will get $100 free as a prize. So if you want to get involved and you want direct messaging access to me, shout outs in every video, then click that first link in the description. But getting back to this, Palmeiras up against Chelsea. Palmeiras undefeated, drawing with Porto, drawing with Inter Miami, beating Al Ali. That was quite straightforward, to be honest, and beating Botafogo. Like, let's be real, they've not been pulling up trees here, Palmeiras. They've not beaten anyone incredible. They beat Al Ali and Botafogo, right? And that was the prediction. We did predict they'd beat Al Ali. We did predict they'd beat Botafogo. So nothing crazy there. Chelsea lost out to Flamengo and essentially booked themselves an easier run to the final. If Chelsea beat Flamengo or drew there, they would have finished top of the group and had to have played Bayern, possibly Real Madrid, possibly PSG. But instead, they lose to Flamengo, get second in the group, and get themselves on a side with Man City and Inter Milan, the two that are highlighted to potentially beat them, and both of them get knocked out. So Chelsea losing this game has proven to give them a much easier run to the final. They're now favourites to get to the final, along with PSG, I'm pretty sure, but PSG have a much harder run of it. And I think Chelsea can win this one. I'll give Palmeiras a goal, but I'm going to go 2-1 to Chelsea, and I like the odds of Chelsea to win it too. I think they make it, and I think that sets up a Chelsea Al Hilal semi-final on the one side of the bracket. Now, after this, it is absolutely game of the round. It's Paris Saint-Germain up against Bayern Munich, and it's hard to look past PSG. I mean, Bayern, they beat Flamengo 4-2 here. Nicely done. PSG, they slapped into Miami 4-0. They beat Seattle Sounders. They lost to Botafogo. That was a bit of a freak result, to be honest. And they slapped Atletico Madrid. PSG, I think I'm going to win this one. I've not been so confident in Bayern Munich losing a game, maybe in my life. I'm going to say 3-1. PSG look like the real deal. And I do feel like PSG is a team that's just getting into winning big silverware in terms of just finally winning the Champions League. They'll want to add the Club World Cup onto what has been essentially a faultless season. Bayern Munich have won all sorts of trophies, and I just don't think they're in the place that PSG are at. PSG have got the momentum, and I do think they've got the talent to overcome a very good Bayern Munich side. So I'm going to say 3-1. I like the odds enough of PSG to win at 2.2. I considered PSG and both teams to score because it's hard to see Bayern Munich not scoring, but neither game for PSG has seen both teams to score. So I'm going to say 3-1, PSG to win at 2.2. And finally, we have Real Madrid up against Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund winning 2-1 against Monterrey. We predicted that. Real Madrid beat Juventus 1-0, surviving a scare in the first half, but ultimately deservedly getting the win. They did, of course, draw with Al Hilal, still in the competition. Dortmund drew with Fluminense, still in the competition. So this should be a good game. I do think Real Madrid win. I'm going to give Dortmund a goal, however. I'm going to say 2-1. I thought again about Real Madrid and both teams to score, but I'm just going to go for Real Madrid to win at 1.61. So those are my predictions. Essentially, both teams to score in every single game. I know for a fact with 4 games where you pick both teams to score, at least one of them is probably not going to happen, right? And the answer is probably Palmeiras, Chelsea, or Fluminense, Al Hilal. I could see a team drawing a blank there. But either way, that would set up the semi-final of Al Hilal versus Chelsea, which you've got to say Chelsea would be the favourites, and PSG Real Madrid. And based on this season and recent form, you've got to make PSG the favourites to look towards a Chelsea-PSG final, again, that you possibly expect PSG to win. That's how it goes. If the favourites win from here on out, we see Chelsea knock out Al Hilal in the semi-final, PSG knock out Bayern Munich in the semi-final or in the quarter-final, and then PSG knock out Real Madrid in the semis and beat Chelsea in the final. And what a great run that'll be for PSG, you know, beating Atletico Madrid, beating Real Madrid, beating Bayern Munich, beating Chelsea. You pretty much beat everyone there, haven't you? So either way, that is going to do it for my Club World Cup quarterfinal predictions. Again, it's a shame we had to start on such a note. It really, really is devastating. But unfortunately, that is life, isn't it? So hold your loved ones close. I hope you enjoy the football, and I will see you in the next video very soon.